Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanam Shalakaya Chokshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Stadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Narayanam Gurum Vande Sharanyam Bhakta Bandhavam Gauramanovistam Purnam Radha Dasyam Pradayakam Rupanugacharyavaryan Rupa Manjari Preshtakam Patita Pavana Bandhavam Yugacharya Narayanam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tuise Namaha. Shama Sundara Shikanda Shekara Izmiraha Saramurali Manohara Radhikara Shikamam Kripanide Swapriya Charana Kinkarin Kuru Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vrindai Tulasi Devyai Priyai Keshava Secha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavatyai Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare. So first of all I begin offering my most humble obeisances to the dust of the lotus feet of Paramaradatam Shri Guru Pada Padma Nitya Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Paribrajacharya Ashtotara Sata Srimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudev, and to all Sri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga, to all Tridandis Sannyasis, Brahmacharis, Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, and to all the assembled devotees here, my most humble obeisances. So by the causeless mercy of Srila Gurudev and all Mahabhagavatas Acharyas, we are able to assemble here one more time. Today we are going to read what Srila Bhakti Vijñana Bharati Goswami Maharaj has to say about the Svarupa of the Jiva. There was a question to Srila Maharaj. We have an original relationship with Krishna, meaning an original Svarupa. Is it already there or given by Guru? So the question is very directly. And Srila Bhakti Vijñana Bharati Goswami Maharaj answers, saying, no. This specific relationship is there from the beginning of your life, meaning your creation. And creation means, in quotation marks, means since ever your soul exists, means this relationship is there, and Guru only clears this sambandha. Without the grace, without that grace of Krishna, means having a dormant eternal relationship with Him, we cannot live. We become dead. But your Svarupa was in a dormant state, and it was opened by Guru, opened by Vaishnava. Here, this opened means when he is speaking in Hindi or Bengali, either he will say khul gaya or khuleche. It means that it was revealed. Okay, opened here means revealed by the help of Guru or Vaishnava. So this was in Chandigarh, India, December 2012. If Bhagavan is eternal and his servant is eternal, then the servant's service is also eternal. If the service is not eternal, how can the servant be eternal? Therefore, all three are eternal. So Srila Maharaj is speaking something very obvious and very logic. What makes you a servant is because you have a service. And if the servant is eternal, it's because he has eternal service. So if it is not yet manifested, it's going to be manifested in the exactly way that it is as dormant. There is nothing to change. It is natural that because Krishna is the reservoir of all the rasas, he has invested different jivas with different tastes or rasas. And by nature, the jivas are attracted to their own rasa and nothing else. Bhagavan has created all rasas in such a way that those who have taste for a certain ras will not have taste to serve in any other. Depending on the ras of a devotee, the devotee will engage in that service only. And the Lord also has a taste only for the devotee's performance of that service. So here Srila Maharaj is very clear. Okay? And this was in Chandigarh, December 15, 2015. And what is very interesting in this book is that you are going to listen a repetition of the same tattva, because it means that it shows that all acharyas, they are in the same line. Okay, so if you want to hear something different and not become like, somehow bored by this study, then that's not the purpose of this book. The purpose of this book is to show that they are repeating the same thing. So if we are going to go through all the other acharyas, and if you follow this study, you are going to see how they are going to speak the same thing. Of course, in their own particular way and manner, and highlighting some also, of course, new points, definitely, but in essence, they're going to say the same thing. And that is the beauty of this work, of this compilation. And that is the proof that they are in the same page, according to this Siddhanta about Svarupa of the Jiva. Next statement of Srila Maharaj. Whatever power Krishna has given the soul at the time of the soul's coming into existence, that is the soul's real Svarupa. This was in Chandigarh, July 24, 2015. Everyone is dasa, is servant. A devotee in Shantarasa is a servant. One in Dasaras is also a servant. One in Sakyaras, Madhuryaras, in Vatsalyaras, he is also a servant. Are a father and mother not dasa or servant? They pick up the slippers of their child, wash the clothes of their child, and bathe their child. However, even though they perform the same activities as a servant, there is difference between them. The ras is different. The love and affection of the mother is much greater and more condensed than that of a servant. The mother's service is permeated with the mother's love. The mother knows exactly how much warm water or cold water she needs to use to bathe her child, or whether she needs to bathe him simply with a damp cloth. Thus, das or servitude is always present in all rasas, but according to the intensity or depth of love and affection, according to the mamata or sense of possessiveness, the rasas are differently known. An example may also be given of milk. Milk is milk, but to the extent that it is cooked or boiled, it becomes transformed into the sweets known as kheer, koa, rabri, etc. All these preparations are milk. The original and principal substance is milk. The names of these milk products change, but milk remains milk. Similarly, common to everyone is that we are all servants, eternal servants of Krishna. It is stated, Jivera Svarupa hoy Krishnera Nityadas. The Swarup of the living entity is that he is the eternal servant of Krishna. This was in Jagannath Puri, July 24, 2015. So now we are going to read from Srila Bhakti Vedanta Vamana Goswami Maharaj, disciple of our Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pragyana Keshav Goswami Maharaj, god brother of my Gurudev. And here we have just one quote from him. And this is regarding the verse beginning, Jivera Swarupa hoy Krishnera Nityadas. The word Nitya means perpetual, not changeable. The Jiva's constitutional form and unique service mood is also eternal. Chaitanya Charitamrita states that there are 5 most important limbs of bhakti. One should associate with devotees, chant the holy name of the Lord, hear Srimad Bhagavatam, reside in Mathura, and worship the deity with firm faith and veneration. Among these limbs of bhakti, sadhu sangha, association with pure devotees is common to all. Similarly, among the 5 rasas, or 5 relationships with Krishna, Nityadas is applied to all. Thus, Nityadas means that the Jiva has inherent within him the Swarup of an eternal service mood in one of these 5 rasas. So it's almost the same as what Srila Bhakti Vijñana Bharati Goswami Maharaj told. The state of Nityadas is present in all rasas, but it does not mean this is a blank dasa. It's like a blank servitude mood that can be changed into some type of rasa. No. He said very clear that this is an eternal mood in one of these 5 rasas. Okay? That was in Navadvip, March 1, 1982. And now we are going to hear from Srila Gaura Govinda Goswami Maharaj. He says, in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.2, it is stated, Nitya Siddhasya Bhavasya Prakatyam Mridi Sadhata. By the mercy of Sri Guru, Sadguru, one will develop Prema Bhakti. Shraddha, Rati, Ruchi, Priti gradually develop. Jivera Swarupa hoy Krishnera Nityadas. This Swarup, the real identity of the Jiva, is eternal servant of Krishna. The Nitya Siddha Bhav, the eternal perfect love, Prema Bhakti, is in the Jiva, but it is covered over. How will the covering be removed? How will Bhakti manifest? If you get Guru Kripa, the mercy of Guru, then the covering is lifted and Bhakti will manifest. It is not that Bhakti is not in the Jiva. It is already present in the Jiva. However, it is not manifest. It is covered. Gurudev only uncovers it. He causes its manifestation. One who is able to do so, he is Guru. He is a Mahabhagavat. By his mercy we obtain the seed of the Bhakti Kripa. He has come to deliver me and relieve me from my distress and unhappiness. This bhava arises in the heart upon seeing the Guru. Krishna se tomar, Krishna dite paro, tomara shakat yache. Krishna is his. He has bound Krishna in his heart with the rope of love. Krishna belongs to him. Only he can give me Krishna. Therefore, he will give me Krishna Shraddha, faith in Krishna, Krishna Rati, Krishna Prem. There should be unflinching faith. It is a question of faith. Upon seeing such a Guru, faith naturally comes. Bhaktistu Bhagavad Bhakta Sangena Parijayati. Thus, Bhakti is present, although it is covered. But by the mercy of Guru, Bhakti is uncovered. If it is not there, how will it manifest? It is there. Nasatya vidate bhavo, nabhavo vidate sata. The seers of the truth have concluded that for the non-existent there is no endurance, and for the eternal there is no change. This verse is in Bhagavad Gita 2.16. Thus, this Bhakti Dhan is present. However, it is Gurudev who makes it manifest. He uncovers it. Gurudev is wealthy in Bhakti Dhan, not in material wealth. So also in the same page, Srila Guru Govinda Goswami Maharaj, this was spoken in Bhubaneswar, October 27, 1995. Okay, now we are going to read from Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj. The eternal Svarupa is our spiritual form. Every living being out of the many, many billions and trillions of living beings has a particular relationship with the Lord eternally. That is called Svarupa. By the process of devotional service, one can revive that Svarupa, and that stage is called Svarupa Siddhi, perfection of one's constitutional position. That is just in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita as it is. He's just starting Bhagavad Gita like that. Very clearly he's saying the relationship with the Lord is eternal, and this is called Svarupa. Next one. A spiritual form like the Lord's, either two-handed or four-handed, is attained by the devotees of the Lord either in the Vaikunthas or in the Goloka planet, according to the original nature of the soul. This form, which is 10% spiritual, is the Svarupa of the living being. This is in Srimad Bhagavatam, purport 1.9.39. Attainment of this stage of pure spiritual life is the highest perfection. At this stage is called Svarupa, or the factual identity of the living being. Liberation means renovation of this stage of Svarupa. And that perfect stage of Svarupa, the living being is established in 5 phases of loving service, one of which is the stage of Madhurya Ras, or the humor of conjugal love. This is in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.10.28 purport. Next one. If the mind is purified by Krishna consciousness, one will naturally in the future get a body that is spiritual and full of Krishna consciousness. Such a body is our original form. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirms, Jivera Swarupa Hoy Krishnera Nityadas. Every living entity is constitutionally an eternal servant of Krishna. This is Srimad Bhagavatam 4.29.65. Next one. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Jivera Swarupa Hoy Krishnera Nityadas. Every living entity is by constitutional position an eternal servant of Krishna. As soon as one engages in the service of Lord Vasudeva, he attains his normal constitutional position. This position is called the liberated stage. Muktir hitvanyatarupam sarupena vyavastitihi. Srimad Bhagavatam 2.10.6. In the liberated stage, one is situated in his original Krishna conscious position. So this is in Srimad Bhagavatam 4.29.36-37. Next one. These Shruti mantras indicate that every living being has its constitutional position, which is endowed with a particular type of ras to be exchanged with the personality of Godhead. In the liberated condition only, this primary ras is experienced in full. So very clear here, Srila Swami Prabhupada, he also says that this is eternal Swarup in the of the Jiva. That is in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.3. Next one. In further reference to your question about the form of the spirit soul of the conditioned living entity, there is a spiritual form always, but it develops fully only when the living entity goes back to Vaikuntha. This form develops according to the desire of the living entity. Until this perfectional stage is reached, the form is lying dormant, as the form of the tree is lying dormant in the seed. This is letter to Rupanuga Dasa, August 8, 1969. Next one. Vishnu is manifested by his millions and billions of integrated forms and separated forms. The integrated forms are called Godhead, and the separated forms are called the living entities, or the Jivas. Both the Jivas and Godhead have their original spiritual forms. Jivas are sometimes subject to the control of material energy, but the Vishnu forms are always controllers of this energy. So again, he says very clear that they have their original spiritual forms. This is in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.23. Next one is question. How do we attain our spiritual body? And then Srila Prabhupada answers. You have got already spiritual body, Prabhupada saying. Then again question. I mean, how did I get my spiritual body? And then Srila Prabhupada answers. Because you are part and parcel of God. God is all spirit, just like materially, because you have got white body. Your son has got white body. Similarly, God is all spirit. Therefore, you are son of God, part and parcel of God, that you are all spirit. And the spiritual body, by original constitution, it is eternal. Eternal, he repeats. Nityam sashatodhyam na hanyate hanyamani. Na jayate na mriyate vakadachi. Bhagavad Gita 2.20. This is a description of it. And again question. In the spiritual bodies, aren't there also individualities? Srila Prabhupada says, yes, yes. This is in London, July 26, 1973. Next one. We are eternal, Srila Prabhupada says. As God is eternal, we are also eternal, because we are part and parcel of God. As God is always blissful, jolly. Similarly, our nature is always blissful and jolly. Sachidananda Vigraha. Sat means eternal. Chit means full of knowledge. And Ananda means blissfulness. That is our nature. Therefore, we want to live. We do not wish to die. This is in Delhi, March 25th, 1976. This Krishna consciousness means that by the process of Krishna consciousness, we shall revive our original spiritual body. And when we revive our original spiritual body, Sachidananda Vigraha, that is the formation of Krishna, that is our formation also. Means we are eternal spiritual bodies with our original identities. This is in New York, July 18, 1966. Next one, Srila Prabhupada, he quotes verse from Sri Ishopanishad, text 7. Yasmin sarvani bhutani atmai vadbhud vijanata tatra ko moha kashoka ekatvam anupashyataha. One who always sees all living entities as spiritual sparks, in quality one with the Lord, becomes a true knower of things. What then can be illusion or anxiety for him? And now he gives the purport. The individual sparks of the Supreme Whole, means the Lord, possesses almost 80% of the known qualities of the whole, but they are not quantitatively equal to the Supreme Lord. These qualities are present in minute quantity, for the living entity is but a minute part and parcel of the Supreme Whole. To use another example, the quantity of salt present in a drop is never comparable to the quantity of salt present in the complete ocean. But the salt present in a drop is qualitatively equal in chemical composition to all the salt present in the ocean. Here we do not have the place of statement. Oh, okay, sorry. This is from Ishopanishad text 7. The next one. A small portion of gold is certainly gold. As Lord Krishna states in the Bhagavad Gita 15.7, Mamaivansho jivaloke jivabhuta sanatana manashastani indriyani prakritisthani karshati. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal, fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the 6 senses, which include the mind. The qualities of Krishna are present in the living entity in minute atomic quantities. A small portion of gold is certainly gold, but it cannot be equal to a gold mine. Similarly, the living entities have all the characteristics of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in minute quantity, but the living entity is never equal to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is purport from Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 23.77. Next one. A living entity is, by superior nature, full of knowledge. Nevertheless, he is prone to be influenced by ignorance due to his limited power. Therefore, the embodied soul, by his immemorial desire to avoid Krishna consciousness, causes his own bewilderment. Consequently, although he is constitutionally eternal, blissful and cognizant, due to the littleness of his existence, he forgets his constitutional position of service to the Lord and is thus entrapped by nescience. This is Bhagavad Gita 5.15 purport. Next one. The spirit soul is now within this material body, but originally the spirit soul had no material body. The spiritual body of the spirit soul is eternally existing. The material body is simply a coating of the spiritual body. The material body is cut like a suit, according to the spiritual body. The material elements, earth, water, air, fire, etc., become like a clay when mixed together, and they coat the spiritual body. It is because the spiritual body has a shape that the material body also takes a shape. This is in Quest for Enlightenment, chapter 6. Next one is a question. When the living entity comes to the material world, what is the state of a spiritual body? And how does the spiritual body begin to develop? Srila Prabhupada answers. Spiritual body is there already. You simply cover yourself with another material coating. London, August 3, 1971. Next one. So this body, because we in our spiritual body, we have got form, hands and legs. Therefore we develop a material body, which has got hands, legs, etc. This is in Bombay, March 30, 1971. So these previous quotes, that Srila Prabhupada is saying that the material body is like a coat for the spiritual body, and it has got the shape of the spiritual body. Of course, if you apply that to other living entities, of course that the Svarupa is not in the shape of fish or bird. But when it comes to the stage of human body, It's because the soul is approaching, coming closer to the end of its samsara, cycle of birth and death. Of course, the soul has to, the soul means the individual, the Jiva has to continue progressing in their spiritual practice, otherwise it can also fall again into other species of life. So here is just specifically for, in the case of humans. So human is the top of all types of species. And when the soul comes in a human body, means the soul has the capacity to express itself in a complete way. And then it's when it begins to perform religious life. Religiosity can only be found in human body, not in any other body. So that's the point here. Next one. Actually, the individual souls have spiritual senses, but in conditioned life, they are covered with the material elements, and therefore the sense activities are exhibited through matter. This is in Bhagavad Gita 13.15. Next one. Just 3 more to finish Srila Prabhupada, and then we are going to read from Srila Bhakti, Ballabha Tirtha Goswami Maharaj. The transcendental vibration established by the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, is a sublime method for reviving our transcendental consciousness. As living spiritual souls, we are all originally Krishna conscious entities. But due to our association with matter from time immemorial, our consciousness is now adulterated by the material atmosphere. This illusory struggle against material nature can be stopped at once by revival of our eternal Krishna consciousness. This is from the book Krishna Consciousness, the Topmost Yoga System, Chapter 6. Srila Prabhupada is saying, this is a verse from Bhagavatam that here only gives the translation, which says, "O my Lord, your devotees can see you through the ears by the process of bona fide hearing, and thus their hearts become cleansed, and you take your seat there. You are so merciful to your devotees that you manifest yourself in the particular eternal form of transcendence in which they always think of you." Then Srila Prabhupada gives a very nice purport for this verse. This attachment of the devotee to a particular form of the Lord is due to natural inclination. Natural inclination means it's not coming about because of association or because of sadhana, nothing like that. Each and every living entity is originally attached to a particular type of transcendental service because he is eternally the servitor of the Lord. Lord Chaitanya says that the living entity is eternally a servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna. Therefore, every living entity has a particular type of service relationship with the Lord, eternally. This particular attachment is invoked by practice of regulative devotional service to the Lord. And thus the devotee becomes attached to the eternal form of the Lord, exactly like one who is already eternally attached. This attachment for a particular form of the Lord is called Svarupa Siddhi. So very clear, Srila Prabhupada is saying. This is Bhagavatam 3.9.11. Then the last one, Srila Prabhupada is going to discuss about Jiva Goswami. He says, Srila Jiva Goswami, in his thesis, Bhakti Sandarbha 202, has stated that uncontaminated devotional service is the objective of pure Vaishnavas, and that one has to execute such service in the association of other devotees. By association with devotees of Lord Krishna, one develops a sense of Krishna consciousness, and thus becomes inclined toward the loving service of the Lord. This is the process of approaching the Supreme Lord by gradual appreciation in devotional service. If one desires an alloyed devotional service, one must associate with devotees of Krishna, for by such association only can a conditioned soul achieve a taste for transcendental love and thus revive his eternal relationship with Godhead in a specific manifestation, in the terms of the specific transcendental ras that one has eternally inherent in him. Very clear, Srila Prabhupada says. This specific transcendental ras that one has eternally inherent in him. If anybody wants to say something different, that is Srila Prabhupada's very clear statement. Many of them we have heard. So, this is in Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila 1.35. So the next is Srila Bhakti Ballabha Tirtha Goswami Maharaj. When we engage in Shravan and Kirtan with a Shuddha Bhakta, the concomitant result will be love for Krishna. This love is innate in the nature of every living being. We cannot awaken it through penance and austerities, but this eternal nature of the self will automatically be awakened if we keep the association of Shuddha Bhaktas. This is quote from Shuddha Bhakti Abhideya. Next one. Love of God exists in every living being. They are not but borrow it from anybody. They are not to borrow it from anybody. For example, the relationship between magnet and iron is natural. Magnet attracts iron, and iron is attracted by magnet. Somebody may say it is not so always. The cause of non-manifestation of attraction between magnet and iron is rust on the iron. If the rust is removed, mutual attraction will be manifested. The eternal nature of a living being's love for God is awakened in the association of a bona fide pure devotee. Very nice comparison Srila Bhakti Ballabha Tirtha Goswami Maharaj is making, comparing the Jiva as the iron, God as the magnet, and the rust around that iron is our anarthas, all our material coverings that is preventing us to be attracted. So once that is removed, then we can automatically be pulled towards Krishna, automatically. So this is quoted from Affectionately Yours, Fundamentals of Devotion, March 4, 2006. And the last one, it is a letter of him, and he says, we should always remember Lord Nrsimhadev. Lord Nrsimhadev accused Hiranyakashipu. Who is Hiranyakashipu? Hiranya means wealth, and Kashipu means bad, means sexual desire. So Hiranyakashipu means those who have desire for wealth and sex, and also for name and fame. Such persons cannot get Krishna. So Hiranyakashipu is within us. Externally, we may see a demon, but that demon is also residing within ourselves. The demon should be killed. Then you can go to Krishna. There is also one-pointed, causeless, eternal devotion residing within our real selves. That is called Prahalada. There is Prahalada, Nrsimha Bhagavan and Bhakti. Nrsimha Bhagavan will remove all ulterior motives from our hearts. He will kill Hiranyakashipu and enhance Prahalada. So we should remember Lord Nrsimhadev. So very nice. Here he is saying that there is one pointed. That's very specific, very important word. There is one pointed, causeless, eternal devotion residing within our real selves. So in this way we stop here, and then next reading will be from Srila Bhakti Pramoda Puri Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakshakshadhar Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Daita Madhava Goswami Maharaj, and Srila Bhakti Pragyana Keshava Goswami Maharaj. Okay, so you may have a very auspicious day. Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarivasya kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.